Hello and welcome to this week's episode, Season 2, Episode 12, is it? Is it Episode 12?
Or 11?
It's Episode 12. Something of the Parenting Tools podcast. My name is Jordan.
And my name is Jason. This is the podcast where two dads talk about the relentless beauty and the hilarious chaos, come on, of parenting, being dads, and all that lovely stuff.
Before we dive into this week's episode, we got 1,000 Instagram followers. We did indeed.
Oh, come on.
So massive thank you to everyone that followed us or does follow us or has followed us from the start. Please keep following us. The OGs. And if you don't follow us on Instagram or TikTok, please do, at Parenting Tools Pod.
So George, this week, before we jump into the parenting stuff, I need to give you an update.
Please do.
I've heard back from the doctor yet again.
Come on now.
If you're a new listener, I've been hearing back from the doctor for a few weeks now. And I have learned that there is a clinical term for, you know when you can't sleep at night, but you just eat all the food?
Oh, yeah?
Insomnia.
I knew it was the dad joke. I knew it. Come on. Oh, dear me.
No, that had me in bits.
But you have heard from the doctor.
I have. There's another thing which apparently that I've got. Let me get my notes up because I've actually got it written down. Something to do with anemia and a lack of B12, vitamin B12. So apparently I need more milk and meat in my diet or supplements. Most of my diet is literally steaks and chocolate milkshakes, so I'm not really sure what's going wrong.
Steaks and chocolate milkshake sounds like a breakup album title. Like a man version.
That's a great title for an episode.
Write it down.
Steaks and chocolate milkshakes.
Could be a Tool social.
Actually, I'm writing it down.
Jotting it down. So anemia, what is...
Not entirely sure, to be honest. All I know is that all the symptoms that I've been having alongside with whatever the other one's called, hypoglycemia.
Yep.
They're just all the symptoms you don't want to have. Feel like you're going to faint, like blurry vision, headaches, mood swings, everything which I thought I was dying from could be to a lack of sugar or vitamins. So eat healthy, kids.
Eat healthy kids. Where'd you get your steaks from? That's all I had in my mind.
Aldi.
Do you?
I can't afford anything else.
I love an Aldi steak. In those like vacuum wrap packs.
Yeah. I was about to say saran wrapped.
Well, jumping into the parenting side of things, as this is a parenting podcast.
Yeah, I suppose we better should really.
Clocks going forward.
Here we go. Here's some information because we usually give the farmers some stick.
Yep.
For changing the clocks. I learned this week.
Can I just backtrack there?
Oh, come on. I usually give the farmers some stick. They don't need to change the clocks anymore. Use your phone.
I'm all for the farmers.
I love the farmers, but they shouldn't be needed to change the clocks. What I learned this week is it's not actually the farmers that we should be blaming.
We're redacting.
It's the golfers.
The golfers?
The golfers. They were annoyed that it was getting darker in the evening, so they couldn't play golf.
Really?
And so they introduced daylight savings, which originally was brought in by William Wilberforce. That's some fun fact for you there. No way. I don't know if that's true. Sounds like it could be.
Someone please let us know.
Fact checked.
The golfers?
Yeah.
So they just thought, nah, we're not getting enough time to finish our rounds.
Yeah, so I think it was a trend set from somebody from America who was visiting Europe.
Yep.
And they thought, this would make more sense if you had more time in the afternoon. And someone then brought that to England. But really the main reason was that they wanted to play golf more in the afternoon.
And the farmers just jumped on it.
And they were using the farmers as this could benefit the farmers.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's mad.
I don't know if that's true.
William Wilberforce. I've heard of him.
Yeah. Maybe that's just the name that I've plucked out the air.
I've heard of William Wilberforce.
Maybe it was William something.
Maybe William Wilbur forced it on everyone. Oh dear. I've not even got a segment for that. But yeah, the clocks went forward last night. How did you get on? I suppose it doesn't really impact you because Noah doesn't sleep anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty fair. What did happen, though, is Noah wasn't feeling very well. And so she slept right through the change. So we lost an hour, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she woke up normal time, but with the clocks being changed.
Right.
So it didn't actually make any difference.
So you just lost an hour anyway?
Yeah, but we stumbled our way through. Oh, yeah, of course, she just woke up early.
Yeah.
Well, then there we go.
So nothing changed.
Didn't win, didn't lose.
But you lost an extra hour.
Always lose.
I'm going to rub it in.
Oh.
I'm gonna get on my high horse, on my very tall steed. It went very well in our house. My daughter, so we normally put her down between 6 and 6:30 because she is ready. Like I know what time it is. If she starts kicking off and we're out, I know what the time is.
Yeah.
So you might say that's a bit early. 6, 6:30. She goes through till 6:30. Last night put her down at 6:15. So body clock is saying 5:15.
Yeah.
She slept through till gone 8:30 this morning.
Oh my word.
She just went all the way through. So that's body time of 7:30.
Wow.
So she went straight through.
Is there any reason?
Is
there any way to replicate it?
So Luca, he gets up normally at 6:30.
Nice.
And then he'll wake her up. But this morning he woke up at 6:30 again, so we put him down normal time, about 7, 7:30. I wasn't home. I was playing football. Hence why Milo was in bed at 6:15. I put her down, then I go. So he fell asleep about 7, 7:30. He woke up at 6:30, so he went through full night. The hour didn't affect him.
Well.
And my wife took him straight downstairs in the morning.
Wow.
Because he was saying, I want to go downstairs, I want to get breakfast. He'd been so good, she took him downstairs. So I think she slept that extra bit because he didn't wake her up.
Ooh, there's a tactic at play there.
So I think that anyway. I think he wakes her up most mornings.
So you won, basically. I lost and you won.
Well, the thing is, it's day one.
Day one.
I feel like we've peaked too soon.
And I have to also backtrack quite a lot because, I'm going to be honest, now I remember that it was this week. I can't remember anything that happened at the weekend because I was completely ill.
You text me an emoji of the pineapple.
Pineapple. Honestly, it was the worst I've ever felt in my life. This whole episode is me just complaining about my health.
So what happened?
I got food poisoning. Got the Derricks.
The Derricks.
Out the front and the back.
And the Rodneys.
All of them.
The front and the back.
Yeah, it was horrid. But then I also got fever. I felt like I've been hit by a bus. It hurt to move.
Oh.
For about 18 hours. Just that was all my life was. And it was horrid. But it resulted in Saturday night. The clocks change on Sunday morning, is it?
It's on
the crossover.
I think it's 2 a.m.
Yeah. And so Sunday morning you wake up, usually the clocks have changed. I was in the spare bed, on an airbed, in the spare bedroom, because I was so ill. I didn't want it to be contagious just in case. And didn't really come to consciousness till Sunday afternoon.
Really?
Yeah.
So you skipped church, work?
Everything. Yeah. And so for me, skipping church on a Sunday that's my job, but also that has a lot of repercussions for everybody else because I do a lot at church. And so Saturday kind of afternoon, it was in panic mode for everyone else because I was barely able to string together sentences of what I wanted to happen whilst I was away. And bless them, they got on, they did it well. It was
Smashed
good.
It.
I watched online, it was good. But I apologise for everyone for putting you in that scenario. In fact, I don't apologise. The burrito apologises.
What was it? What was in the
burrito?
So was it a steak burrito or a milkshake? Milkshake burrito.
But I've actually found it's not William Wilberforce. You might forgive me. It's William Willett.
Willett?
Yep. A guy called William Willett was one of the first advocates for daylight savings in the United Kingdom. There you go.
So who's William Wilberforce? Because I've heard of that name.
I'm pretty sure he abolished something.
He abolished afternoon golf. So William Willett. Will.
So William Wilberforce is the guy who abolished slavery in the United Kingdom.
Oh, there we go. Well, now I'm embarrassed that I didn't know that's what he did because that seems like a big deal.
Because I thought I knew that's what he did, and I just also assumed that he'd also do other things in Parliament. Apparently, he was smart enough not to bring daylight savings in. William Willett, on the other hand, in 1907. There we go. We're a history podcast.
I can't believe I didn't know that's what William Wilberforce did.
So he actually convinced everyone, calling it the Waste of Daylight campaign.
Really?
Yeah. I'm sure before you had phones, that would have been.
I'm glad you checked
sufficient.
that, because I didn't want to, like, next time I'm playing Articulate or some sort of...
You go in confident with William Wilberforce and everyone looks at you like, you sure?
Yeah, I've got William Wilberforce on the card. I'm like, the golfer that brought in daylight savings because he wanted to do a full 18. Turns out it's the guy that, you know, got rid of slavery.
Honestly, I'm just glad I got William right.
Well, you're there.
After the weekend I've had, it's just I'm glad I'm here.
Everyone was called William back in the day, weren't they?
It's like the go-to name.
Yeah, they were all called William. On the clocks changing, we had a comment from Jamie on TikTok because we said, what are your techniques? What are you going for? And I really like this one. He said, shift the bedtime an hour and then walk it back by 15 minutes a week. It ain't worth the battle.
Hold on, let me get my head around this.
So if you've got a 7 p.m. deadline normally, you can tell I've had a deadline today. So if you've got a 7 p.m. bedtime, normally, move it to 8.
Got you.
And then go to 7:45 after 1 week, 7:30 after 1
week.
And then by the end of the month, you're back to your normal.
15 minutes a week.
But when you think of it,
I mean, it works over time, I'm sure.
But
that seems long.
You could try it over, you know, you could do it over 2 days, 3 days. But that's what Jamie's going for.
I mean, fair play if it works.
We had another comment from Mother Knows Breast, who offers breastfeeding advice for new mums. And she came up with the idea of doing a bit of pre-work before the clocks changed. But that's already been. So this isn't going to be much use. But she said on Monday and Tuesday, put them to bed 15 minutes earlier than usual. On Wednesday and Thursday, do 30 minutes. And then by the time that Sunday comes around, you're putting them in bed an hour earlier, and then the clock's changed and you're back to normal.
I appreciate the advice, but it seems like a lot.
Well, it does seem a lot like now.
Here's the thing as well, because I've only got one child, that is.
Yep.
Like for us, we just go for it.
Just dive in.
Just take it as it comes, see what happens. Usually by day 2 or 3, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
Either she's overtired, just have to go to bed whenever, or we just have one bad night and then we'll wake her up in the morning. It's all good. I imagine that gets a lot trickier when you've got multiplay.
What language is that?
Yeah, when you've got 2 or 3 kids on the go. Is it harder with 2 kids?
It can be. I remember our early podcast episodes. I was like, not at my wit's end, but I was really struggling with bedtime because my little boy was at the stage where we'd not long moved house, so he was getting out of his bed and coming out of his room. A little girl wouldn't let me leave the room, so that was quite difficult. Kind of spinning 2 plates, really. That's how it felt. 2 tiny plates.
Very expensive.
That do not stay still. But now, because our youngest is so good at going to bed, it makes it a lot easier because you can just lie her down, give her a milk.
Yeah, I imagine it's hard as well when you're in the stringent routine phase as well. Like when they're like newborn and stuff, they've got solid routines. So I imagine that's much harder. But we just took it on a whim. I say we in the royal sense. My wife did it because I was in bed.
Because you were pineappled.
Pineappled.
I will say, we were at a wedding this weekend, which I want to come back to because I want to pick up on a certain topic, but we had a very tiring weekend for the kids. So they were just shattered. So I think it came at the best time for us. I don't think if it was a normal weekend, it'd have gone so well. But they were absolutely...
just went for the tire them out tactic.
Not intentionally, but that's just how it panned out.
It's a good tactic.
It's a great tactic. Something else that's happened since we last recorded, Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
How did you get on?
I can't remember. Well, actually, no, well on all counts.
Yeah?
I sent my mum flowers or at least a gift of some kind the week of. So it arrived on the Saturday before.
Did you send it or did Em send it?
I did. I sent it.
You're a good present buyer.
There we go. I got my wife something. Got her a plant and a candle from my daughter. Because I saw a debate going online where husbands were like, it's weird that we're buying Mother's Day cards for our wives because they're not our mothers.
Is it?
Well, that's my question of, is it, because I wrote in my card for my wife, my daughter's card for my wife, and it wasn't my 2-year-old writing those sentences. It was me.
Just get to do a little scribble.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I forgot to do that bit, but...
So she just got a card from you.
Got a card from me. It was from Noah.
So I got my wife some flowers. That's all she wants.
Lovely.
And to be honest, I'm an awful gift giver. Talked about this before. Pressure is on. So just bought some flowers. Let her pick them. No. Let her pay for them. No, I didn't. So we went to buy our mum some flowers from our local shop.
Yeah.
They get these really nice flowers in our local cafe for Mother's Day. So I said, well, while we're here, might as well pick some for yourself. And she did. So they went down well. But I did get her a card from me.
Yeah.
Just saying, thanks for being such a good mum and all that kind of stuff.
Solid. It's worth it.
Have you watched Clarkson's Farm?
Not the most recent season.
So there's a guy called Gerald that you can't understand a word he's saying.
Yes. Yeah.
I got an advert on Instagram. The algorithm read me of a picture of Gerald, a load of just letters, and then in the bottom corner it said Happy Mother's Day, like translation. I thought, I've got to buy that for her. So I did, and then one from the kids.
Oh, that's lovely.
But something happened
on
Mother's Day morning.
Ooh.
So my wife announced, I'm not doing anything. It's Mother's Day. You can sort the kids. I'm like, cool. Fair play. It's Mother's Day.
Yep.
So I get our little girl out of bed, take the grow bag off, the sleeping bag, and I just see like a little stain on her back above the nappy line.
You're in for a big one.
And I'm thinking, she's just announced that this is me flying solo on this. So I said to her, this might be a 2-man job. She went, oh, yeah, good one. I said, I'm not joking. This might be a 2-man job. She went, I am not moving.
Love it.
So I took her vest off. And when I say poonami, I mean poonami. There was poo between her shoulder blades. Right up the back. Now, I'm guessing that's from when I took the vest off. I hope it's from when I took the vest off.
That's come out with some power.
But, yeah, or it is travelled north for winter. But it was, her back was covered. I had to put her in the shower and just rinse her off, just holding her over the shower, like play. Full on Lion King.
Yep. Rinsed
her off. So after I've cleaned up the shoulder intrusive, the shoulder intrusive. It's a big old faff. There's lots of wipes. I'm getting everything in the bag because I wasn't doing it as I went. I was just taking the nappy
afterwards.
I was just getting stuff. I wasn't bothered about getting everything in the nappy bag.
Clean up.
Yeah, I was just like, right, stand her up. My wife says, come here. Bear in mind she's in bed. So she walks across to the bed, no nappy on, does a wee. But what my wife must have done the last thing before getting into bed is take her dressing gown off, put it on the floor next to her. So she is now just weeing on the dressing gown.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. On the day where my wife, rightly so, said, this is on you. My daughter has pulled out the worst poonami that we've had in a long time.
Did you do it solo?
I did.
Oh, fair play.
And then the wipes did that thing. I know we complain about wipes a lot, but they did that thing and I was not bothered. I just got them all out.
Clumped it.
Just flicking they're going everywhere. But oh my life.
It got to be done.
It was horrific. And it was warm.
Still fresh.
So warm. So much warmth coming off. So that was a bad one.
But a good Mother's Day overall.
A great Mother's Day. And do you know what? Speaking on behalf of both of us, they both deserve it.
100%.
100%.
Like, all the debates that I read about the cards, like, cards are one of those things. I'm not a card person. But what a card does is it allows you to express opinions that you probably wouldn't say just in normal conversation.
Yep.
Even though I probably would say them in normal conversation. That's probably why I don't like cards. Even so, but it means more when it's written
I get
down,
what
right?
you're saying. I 100% get what you're saying. It's like you wouldn't not say those things, but you wouldn't just normally say those things.
No, it gives you an opportunity, doesn't it? And
yeah,
it kind of gives it a bit more like permanence because it's written down. It's there. You can always look back on it. And so definitely wrote a little heartfelt massage.
Yep.
I don't know what's with the words today. I'm clinging on.
It's the anemia. But yeah, so got the cards, put them up as you do.
Yeah.
Walked in, kids had got them down, folded them, creases everywhere.
Yeah, my daughter likes to keep adding to the cards. So she gives you a birthday card, so you put it up throughout the whole week that it's up. She'll keep adding to it.
Nice.
It's sweet.
And another thing. P.S. Just thought of another thing.
Here's a question. What do you do with cards? Do you bin them?
I am miserable. I think unless it's
is that related to the question?
Yep. No, yeah, just in general. Unless it's like a 21st birthday or 30th, big wedding anniversary, just get rid of them.
Recycling.
Or it's a particularly nice card.
Yeah.
You know, or like a nice moon pig.
Moon pig.
There you go. There's a jingle.
There it is, yeah.
There's a jingle. You finally got one. Finally got one in.
Got that. Keep your stick to it.
Before we get into opening questions, I want to ask you something. So I've been listening to a podcast recently called Finding Our Feet. And it's a couple on an adoption journey.
Okay, yeah.
That's some medical troubles when it comes to came to conceiving. So they've gone down the adoption route and they're documenting their journey.
That sounds really cool.
Much like in the way that we do. They're not offering advice on how to adopt. It's just their experience and their journey. So I was listening to that the other day and they had a mum on whose child is 2 and diagnosed with autism quite early on.
Okay, yeah.
So they were talking about how their parenting journeys are very different to what they expect. And that looks very different for both of them. One adopting, one with a child with autism. And they asked her this question, which I thought was lovely. 3 words to describe your child. Well, that's a statement. Describe your child in 3 words.
For me? My child?
You go for it. You jump in.
So you did text me about this earlier, so have I had time to think about it?
I had to think long and hard because there's too many words.
So I've gone for resilient.
Nice.
Intelligent. Beautiful.
Oh.
Yeah, it's my daughter.
Why?
Resilience, oh man, like there genuinely isn't a day where I don't think about, most days I even talk about the resilience that she has just in life. Like she's been through so much.
She has.
And we have a little poster on our wall, which is like a little hand-drawn figurative drawing of a baby, which shows the size that she was when she was born, which was like £2 something, £2.11. And like the exact like length that she was. So that's in our bedroom. Not as like a weird thing, but more of a remind ourselves how grateful we are.
Yeah. And
so every day I see that and it's like, I then look at my daughter and she's just so happy and she's just, resilient is just the word. She's just so strong. And the other day, I've been having some blood tests and like you have little bruises on your arms and she'll come up to me and she'll go, Daddy, how was your blood test? And she'll get it out and she'll go, oh, can I do a health check on you? And then she'll be like, oh, it'll be better soon.
That's
and
lovely.
Like, and she's been through all of that herself and like quite badly as well sometimes. But she's just so much like, even for me, she's caring for me and my little bruise on my arm about my blood test.
Yeah.
So resilient, intelligent because I'm convinced she's already smarter than me. Like she's so intelligent and it baffles me like how intelligent kids can be. In like so many different ways, not just in like knowledge, but in how they can just do things and approach things. And I think for me, like one of my biggest goals is to enable her intelligence, whatever that looks like, whether it's in practical skills or like actual knowledge or studying. Like as a father, as a parent, I want to enable her to be the best that she can. And then beautiful because I just think she's beautiful. It's that thing of like she has me wrapped around her finger. Genuinely, she could ask for anything and I'd be like, no, but yeah, sure. Ask me when your mother's not here. Top
5 cutest babies that I've ever encountered.
Who? Noah?
Yep.
Oh, that means a lot.
And I don't mean 5th. Do you know when people say, oh, that was my top 5 favourite whatever? That normally means 5th. Yeah. Because you'd say like 1st, 2nd or 3rd, but she's in the top 5 but not 5th. But also she's not 1st or 2nd because...
Absolutely, that would be wrong.
They're my kiddos.
Absolutely.
Oh, they're nice. They're lovely ones.
What are your 3 for your 2? There are a lot of numbers there.
So for Luca, I've got polite, because he is so polite.
Yeah.
He will knock you down, but he'll say sorry. But no, his manners are... I'm really proud of just how he says please, thank you. He says you're welcome to people. I said this before when we went to Spain. He'd even say gracias. Like he quickly picked up on that's how you say thank you. So yeah, really proud of him for that. Smart/intelligent. He's a very clever boy.
Yeah.
He's an August baby. So there's that whole kind of thing of he's going to school like 25% younger than other people in his year.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to be, and that's a worry for a lot of parents who have got August babies. But I think he's going to fly at school because he's so. We were in the car the other day, and he told me that 4/4s are 16. I was baffled, and he's got that from number blocks. He doesn't know why 4/4s are 16, but still
the retention.
He's retained that knowledge.
It's huge though. That whole like having children when you factor those things in, that's huge because 1 month makes a massive difference in their education, and when they're young as well.
Yeah.
That means quite a lot in terms of all that sort of stuff. And it is really scary. So we've potentially got the option to hold Noah back a year because she was technically supposed to be born in September.
Yep.
And it was quite drastic. But it's one of those things of like, we'll just see how it goes for now. But oh man, yeah, Luca's definitely like clever and intelligent.
He's a smart boy, which worries the life out of me.
He's so cute as well.
And then
the third?
Effervescent.
What does that mean?
He effervesces. So do you know Baroccas? Something that fizzes.
I thought it was a yogurt.
You drop it into water and it just fizzes. He's full of life. He's full of character.
That's a great word.
I wanted a word for like someone that lights up a room because he beams. And he was doing this thing at church recently where he was walking across the front row, saluting people. And I love our church for this. Like, there's no kind of frowning or someone, keep him still. Everyone just saluted back at him. And he's kind of got that thing already where he brings happiness and, he brings joy. He's just full of life and he's full of energy, but in the best possible way. So yeah, that's my 3 for my boy. For she is so independent. Miss Independent already. She's a year and a half and she will not let me feed her. Like, she will cry, she'll say no. She could say, I don't want it. Now, she can only say a handful of words, but she can say, I don't want it. She knows what she wants and she knows what she doesn't want. She goes, don't want it, don't want it, don't want it. And I don't know where she's got that from. So yeah, she's independent. She's so funny. She can't speak, but she knows what's funny. If something makes you laugh, she'll do it again and she'll do it bigger. She'll do it with like more life and more enthusiasm because it's made you laugh. So she already knows what's funny and what's not, and she'll make you laugh. She'll clock that it makes you laugh, and she does it again. So she's brilliant, and then beautiful. I've got beautiful as well. She's just got the nicest face, which is mostly covered in snot all the time. But I don't get bored of looking at her.
That's lovely.
Yeah, do you know when you have a newborn and you just look at them?
Yeah.
And they don't do anything. They just kind of sit there. Well, they don't sit there. And I could do that with her now, just looking at her, because this morning she got one of my wife's lipsticks and just drew it all over her chin. And
nice.
I could just look at her. So yeah, that's a 3 for my.
That's a really nice little question.
Yeah, I loved it.
That. Yeah,
I loved it, and it was what was nice about the Finding Our Feet podcast was that the mum, she like left the autism off the table, and it was like he's very much just him, and the autism plays into a part, but it doesn't define him. So that was the way that conversation went. But I thought, it's a really lovely question.
Oh, that's amazing. And so I believe, is it Autism Awareness Day this week?
Yeah, this April the 2nd is Autism Awareness Day.
Amazing. And I think that's one of the conversations that actually not a lot of people know about. I think it's just a knowledge gap. And so next week we have a very special guest who'll be talking about just life in general. But one of their children has autism, and it's my sister.
Lovely.
So Becky Nichols will be joining us next week.
Auntie Becky.
Auntie Becky. Lovely.
And if you want to check out the Finding Our Feet episode, it's called Jude's World. So check them out on Spotify.
Jude's World. They should have a jingle.
They should have a jingle, but the episode is called Jude's World. I want to pick up something, Jace, that we picked up with Dan off camera.
Oh.
So last week...
Remind me, I can't remember.
Shout out Dan for last week's episode.
Yeah, it's lovely.
Lovely. Wholesome. Listened to it back on the way from the wedding.
Nice.
And it brought me and my wife, we listened to it together and we were just talking about the newborn days.
Yeah.
And the things that we really enjoyed. And
don't you forget so much?
You forget so much.
Baby, what's that? Not insomnia. Amnesia.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I forget so much of like the stuff that you have to do for newborns.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said, you don't really need that much stuff. And I'm like, no, you don't. You know, they're just nappies and baby grows. I'm like, actually, you need a sterilizer.
You need so much stuff.
You need loads of bottles. You need Sudocrem. When you think about it, you do actually need loads of stuff. Compared to what you need now, you don't need anything. But at the time, you do need quite a bit of stuff. But after we finished recording, Dan said, "Hey lads, I've bought a dad car."
Yes.
Now I want to pick this up.
Yeah, this is huge
for many men, and I want to say probably for some women. Can't speak about that because I'm not a woman.
Yeah.
But for many men and many blokes that I know, my friends, getting a dad car is a big old life stage.
It's huge. Requires a lot of time, a lot of investment, sometimes a lot of sacrifice.
Yep. You're giving up a lot to gain a lot of space.
A lot of space, a lot of nothing else.
Yeah. So I bought myself a Suzuki Swift Sport. So not like the most lavish car, but I loved it.
Nice.
It was my little sporty car that I just used to drive at the speed limit around in. And when I bought it, someone said, "Oh, you're clearly not having kids anytime soon." I said, "No, I'm not." And I've bought this car because no one drives them. You don't see many of them. I wanted something small and fun to get around in, and I loved it. It wasn't a Ferrari. It wasn't anything major, but it was my car. It was my pre-dad car, and I loved it. And getting rid of it to get something like practical that I could get isofixes in.
And a roof box if necessary.
And a roof box. Yeah, it's got the rails on top. But it's a big deal.
Big deal. You need ample boot space.
And I know for some men, it's a sad day.
So I'm not really that much into cars. I spent ages... As soon as I passed my test, I spent years saving up for the car that I wanted. I had several cars that were just cheap cars. And finally, after years, I bought myself a nice, like fairly decent VW Golf. It was gunmetal grey.
Lovely colour.
It's beautiful. Bought it off an old couple. It was going to last me years. Had it 3 days and wrote it off. Since then, my car trajectory has just been numb.
Numb.
Yeah. It was my fault on the insurance. And so I didn't get paid out the full value of the car.
You've never recovered.
I haven't. And so after that, I bought a cheap Polo, which I still have now on my driveway. And when we were in hospital, I remember Noah being there and having the conversation with Em going, "We need a new car." And she's like, "What are you thinking about cars for? At some point we'll be leaving."
Yep.
And she's not going to fit in our 2-door Polo.
True.
So I bought a car there and then. And that's what it is today. Practical decision.
Still can't believe you did that.
Yeah.
No test drive.
So I did test drive a few previous.
Right, yeah.
I knew this conversation was coming.
Yeah.
So I'd done the research, done the work. There was a car which was more practical, but I liked this one slightly more. So there was a little bit of kind of leeway. But
yeah.
It was the biggest car that would fit in our underground garage at the time, which was tiny. Again, 3 days later we moved out, and I could have got a bigger car. So my car history is not that great.
So what would you, for people that are maybe expecting, or they've got their first, because I think you can get away with having a smaller car with one baby.
You can if you're not planning to go away anywhere.
Yeah.
And if you're planning to go away or visit family regularly and you need to take all the stuff with you, You need a lot of room.
You need a lot of
You
room.
need a big boot. It doesn't have to be an SUV. It could be an estate. You just need a lot of. You need to fit all the stuff in.
Estates. I don't want to use the term. They're a bit old manish, aren't they?
That's just men just resigning to their dadness.
Yeah. The day. It's like 7-seaters.
Yeah.
I would rather buy a Range Rover and get in debt than buy a 7-seater.
So this again is going against what I said last time. If you don't need a lot of stuff for a newborn, if you're going to visit family and you've got a newborn and they're not set up, you need a carry cot, you need the sterilisers, you need all the spare clothes because they go for like 10 outfits a day, all the nappies, all the food.
Yeah,
that doesn't fit in a boot. And then also, you don't just need the bed; you might need the carry cot and the pram.
Yep,
Moses basket, all of these different sleeping solutions for a child. So space is a necessity.
Yeah.
And isofixes.
Isofixes are brilliant.
Amazing.
Really?
Must.
Did you think you'd be talking about this like 5 years ago?
Not at all.
Just chatting about how good isofixes are.
One of the best things, though, and I stole it from you, is the car seat. The swivel.
That wasn't me.
I'm pretty sure it was. Did you have a swivel car seat? I think you did.
No.
The newborn one.
No. So we had one of those car seats that you can take out and put it onto some wheels. So
Maybe that's what I stole from you.
So you get to your destination, you get the car seat, you haven't got to take them out of the car seat.
Did you buy it from it was like a show model?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about, whatever it was. That invention was genius.
Yeah, so it's a car seat that you can take out of the car and then clip it onto a frame and you can just use that as a pushchair then.
Yeah.
So the baby's not transferring from one seat
Which
to
means
another.
also if they're sleeping,
If they're
you
sleeping.
got more chance of them staying asleep.
Yeah.
You put them on the pram.
Exactly. Or when you get home, you can just take the car seat out, leave them in the car seat for a little bit.
And then also, which is something I didn't learn from you, is a swivel car seat. When they're a bit older, the ones that swivel.
Yep, I know the
Easy
ones.
access.
Yep. Bang.
Bang. Perfect.
Bang's probably not the right.
So you also need enough room. Just need enough room.
Yeah. So that's your top tip, is it, for people?
Just space, isofixes, bars on the roof for a roof rack.
See, that's too far for me.
But if
A
you need the
roof rack.
space, a roof box.
I can't do a roof rack. I think one of my things is try. I'm pretty certain we went to look at cars and we took the car seat or the pram with us.
That's a great tip.
Yeah, that was
top tool.
really useful. That was really useful to do.
Yeah.
So you know
if it fits in
if
easily.
it fits in or not.
Yeah, that's great.
But this is what I mean. Buying a car around if your pram can fit in it is very different.
Honestly, this is the epitome of what parenting is like.
Yep.
Every decision is made around your kids.
Yep.
And sometimes they're painful decisions.
Like getting rid of your really average Suzuki Swift Sport.
Suzuki Swift. What colour was it?
Black. Oh, it was lovely. It was so nice. And it was brilliant. It handled like a dream. You just throw it into corners.
I don't even know what these look like.
Oh, mate, it was awesome. I had so much fun in that car. Do you know when you watch programs like Top Gear and the Grand Tour and they say like the car brings you joy and you're like, mate, come on, it's a car. It used to bring me joy driving it. It was wonderful. It weighed less than a ton. So if I ever rolled it, I could probably flip it back over.
So I don't know, a car's usually more than a ton? I don't know.
Yeah, normally. And then we go into the whole thing of, I have 2 children.
Yeah.
Having a third means that my now big dad car is too small.
Yeah.
And it really is a consideration when thinking, right, do I want to have another child? Going out for day trips now gets really tricky if you can't afford a massive car because they are expensive. And I know I joked about a Range Rover and getting into debt. Obviously, I wouldn't do that. But that's the kind of size you need to have 3 kids.
7-seater.
The day you get a 7-seater is the day you give up.
I don't think that many. I mean, I'm sure people do care about cars that much, but for a lot of people, it's just to get from A to B.
For a lot of people, yeah. But for a lot of other people,
it's not.
I'm not even like a
dying
petrol head. I'm not
every
even one
time
of
you see
those.
it.
I'm not even a car snob. But
Every time you get in, it's just grinding away at you.
That's
what
it.
What my life become?
And you spend a lot of time in a car. I spent
You do.
a lot of time in my car this weekend.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed being in it. I enjoyed the tech.
Yes.
And I enjoy the fact it has 5 seats and only 5 seats.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't want a 7-seater. But really, practically, you'd have to pay out for a massive car.
Yeah. It's huge. But it's things that I've got used to now, which are very snobbish to cars, like Apple CarPlay.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Siri can just play the music I want. Well, play the music my daughter wants without faffing about. It's a necessity now. Even so that when we have to go into the rubbish Polo car, she gets sad. She goes, "Oh, no music in this car."
Yep. Happens with my son as well. He's like, "Daddy, can we have whatever song is..." Well, he asks for my songs. He's like, "Can I have my songs?" In my car, I'm like, "Get in." Because we've got like a nice family... Well, like you, we've got a nice family car, and then we've got a cheaper car that's mine.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that doesn't work. Can't have that in Daddy's car.
And that's a luxury in itself, 2 cars.
Yeah.
But that has become for us a necessity. And like our second car is a cheap little banger, but it's like we couldn't live without it at the moment. Our buses and train routes just aren't good enough.
No, I'm exactly the same. Bought like a cheap old banger, and we couldn't live without. We couldn't go down to one car.
Maybe that's different if you live in like I was about to say a city, but I live in a city, but a bigger city like London or maybe overseas where the transport's just much better.
Cheaper. Yeah.
Who knows?
One of those things.
But I do need to buy a new car soon, and I'm dreading it.
What are you going for?
Honestly, don't know. A Suzuki Swift.
Suzuki Swift Sport. Oh, glory days. Glory days.
Have we gone on too long to do a deep bit?
We've got 5 minutes left.
What deep bit should we do? Argue him? What was the how to win? What's the title?
You wanted to talk about bartering, didn't you?
Bartering.
Yeah, you take that because I've done a lot of talking. I've done
to barter with a toddler and win.
I've done all the transitions as well.
So, Jordan, I want to change the tempo up. I think I've come across a top tool.
Top tool.
Oh, yes. Boom. Also, a bit of a not necessarily a deeper bit, but it's as my daughter's getting smarter, cleverer, more intelligent. She's beaten me in more arguments, and I say this a lot as a joke, but genuinely, she's just beaten me at arguments. I don't know how to get her to do what I want a lot of the time. However, I have come across her Achilles heel.
Oh.
And I'm hoping that this appeals to the masses of how to barter with your toddler and win.
That could be a book.
It could be.
Copyright it.
There we go. I'll write a short draft now, just to make sure. But there's the tried and tested ways of just bribing them with stuff they want. Sweets, chocolate. If you do this, I'll give you this. Nice and easy. But you don't want to raise kids that are just...
Spoilt?
Spoil, or just like robbing all your cash and chocolate.
Cash?
When they understand money, they can...
1998 called. They want their means of payment back.
Do you not use cash anymore?
No.
That's the point. I struggle to find £1 for the trolley. But anyway, I've been struggling to, particularly when it comes to getting dressed. Not myself.
Yep.
My daughter.
I gathered that.
After bath time, she loves naked running. And I'm so glad because a few episodes ago, we had a problem where she was just so scared as a result of having a blood test that she didn't want to be without any clothes on. She wanted it covered. We're past that now. She loves being naked. A little bit too much.
You've gone full.
Yeah. She does not want to put her pajamas on. Ever. And she wants to stay free. And the clock is winding down. For us, it's coming time for handover to my wife because she does the evenings at bedtime. And so my task stops when she's clothed.
Oh, that's good.
So after bath time, we do all that together.
So it's not a time. It's not 7 o'clock.
No,
it's when she has got the clothes on.
When she's got the clothes on, which my wife's in the room with me. We're still doing it together. But as soon as she's got the clothes on, I leave, handover begins. And that could take half an hour, could take an hour, could take 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. But she doesn't want to put the clothes on.
So now you're bribing her to put the clothes on.
Well, I've come up with a tactic which at the moment has worked every time.
This could be best-selling. This could be groundbreaking.
So usually it's like, no, do you want to put your clothes on? Just having none of it. Even to the point of, we're going to take away one of your stars if you don't come put your clothes on. I've tried that. Don't work. She's like, take away my stars. I'll get another one. Okay, fair point.
I'll earn it back.
Yeah. So now I'll go, no, can you just help me put your vest on? And I'll start putting it on me. And she'll get so annoyed that it doesn't go on Daddy's head. It goes on Noah's. That she'll come over, take it off. You go, no, Daddy, this is how you put it on. And she'll put it on herself.
Nice.
Starts with the vest. I do it with the trousers. Do it with the top. Before you know it, job's done.
So my immediate thought is there's going to be a day where she doesn't call your bluff.
Yep.
And you're going to have to commit to putting her tiny, tiny trousers on.
Yeah, so what I do to make it obviously terrible, and I think it annoys her more, is I try to put her trousers on my arm.
Oh, nice.
Wrong body part as well.
You're mixing it
I
up.
think she just hates, like, I can't have the capacity to know what trousers are.
This guy's getting it all wrong. Let me go show him.
Yeah.
I like it. And how long has this been working for?
About 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, legitimately. But it doesn't work in any other area.
Like food.
Just any area of general
You're just
discipline.
like shoving a sausage in your ear.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going to eat your food. That's why you're so ill.
But I think
consuming meat through your eyeballs.
the core of it, genuinely, is me and my wife have a common hate of things. And I don't know why this annoys me more than anything. I'm generally quite a... What's the word? Just not really bothered about a lot of things.
Pretty placid.
Very placid person, I think.
Yeah.
Not a lot of stuff bothers me, apart from incompetence.
Really?
Frustrates me so much. Doesn't have to be in any area at all. Just incompetence frustrates me.
Good job you've got a toddler then.
And I think I passed that on to my toddler. As evidenced by me trying to put her trousers on my arm.
She doesn't suffer fools gladly.
She forgets that she's trying to stay naked. She forgets that bedtime's around the corner so much. She's like, no, let me show you how it's done, because you're a fool.
Yeah. Her disdain of you takes over the want to not be clothed.
But that kind of leads me on to the question of, are there... I think that's quite a negative thing, because it grinds my gears so much. Are there any things that you've spotted in your kids that you think might be a bit of negative hangover from you?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Shouting. Yeah, like our little boy gets so frustrated when he can't do something, like put his clothes on. He would just shout. And that comes from me, 100%. I remember playing Crash Bandicoot on the
game.
PS1.
Come on.
And struggling to get past levels and just squeezing the control.
Wow.
Because I was just so annoyed, and I'd be like so frustrated, and I just see that in him, that frustration that manifests itself in just like an outcry, or he doesn't hit out or kick out or anything like that. He's not aggressive, but he will shout.
Yeah. And
that is very much from me, and I think my wife as well. I think she would. I think she would agree. So I'll definitely see a lot of that in him.
It's just funny, isn't it? Like, because I think there's not just like learned behaviours. I think there's just general like presuppositions of just how people are. And like I can begin to see that with my toddler, even to the point of like at a soft play, she will tell other kids off for not playing with the equipment properly.
Yeah. It's
like that hate of incompetence. She's like, no, this is how you play with it.
Oh, man.
I know.
She wouldn't last with me. I like to put tights on the kid's head.
Oh yeah, that's fun. Yeah,
call it trouser head.
She'd
be like, whoa, hang on a second.
We love nappy time in our house, which is nappy head time. Everyone puts a nappy on their head. Yeah,
gotta be done.
But she understands when stuff is being done in jest.
Yeah, that's good.
But when it comes to serious playing, she's livid.
If there's no sarcasm involved. No, well, yeah. I see a lot of, and I get told all this all my time. Like, we've been at a family wedding this weekend, and my uncle came up to me and was like, he is you, because he just doesn't sit still, just wants to run freely. Like, he's just me. But yeah, good tactic though.
Yeah, and I think really to wrap it up, it's not a lot of the traits that we pass on to our kids, especially if we've noticed that they're negative, doesn't have to be treated as like, oh, you must never do that. It's more about like managing them, and like understanding how that can be used in a helpful way. Being frustrated at everyone's incompetence, I don't know how you can use that in a helpful way yet, but I will find it.
I think that's really helpful.
Yeah, you can help people stop being incompetent.
It could be a teacher.
Very good.
Or a tutor. Martial art instructor. People that show people the right way of doing things.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There you go. A dentist.
There you go. You've solved my solution.
There you go. So time is against us. I want to quickly pick up on something. And I want to get your opinion. As a minister, as a reverend.
Yeah.
Weddings.
Yes.
So I mentioned we went to a family wedding.
Yeah.
One of those things that aren't as fun with kids, going to a wedding.
Yeah.
And as it was a family wedding, our kids were invited. They were part of it. Keeping them quiet for a ceremony was tricky.
Yeah.
Keeping them sat at their seats for dinner was tricky.
It's a whole palaver.
Massive palaver.
Yeah.
And I think we did okay. Me and my wife maybe could have been a bit of a better team, if I'm being honest, in transparency of the pod. But we had a little team talk halfway through the day. We got back on the same page.
Love that.
We ended strong. Really proud of us. I genuinely am. We got it together. And then the party came, the disco at the end, and they had a great time. But I want to ask your opinion. Where do you stand on people saying no kids at the wedding?
So I've conducted weddings with my children in the room, my child in the room. Several weddings with my child in the room. I've been to quite a few weddings with being a part of like the official procedure and my daughter being present. And I've done a few without her being there. The ones without her have been definitely less stressful. It's difficult when it comes to a wedding that I'm just attending. Like, I know if it was my wedding, it makes it easier for the adults' enjoyment that kids aren't there. But in general, I'm not, like, kids in general, before I had my daughter, I wasn't bothered. Didn't understand, like, kids just get knocked out by someone else, that's fine. Now I have a daughter and I understand that whole world. It's a huge undertaking to have kids at your wedding because you've got to also have space for them to do stuff. So I don't really know. My opinion is very political in nature. I'm easy either way, to be honest. Whatever the couple decide.
Whatever. See, I'm of that same standing. It's up to you.
Yeah.
I know some people maybe could be offended if they're like, well, you've invited us along, now what? Basically, you're saying, I've got to find childcare.
You see, I'm not offended because the potential that my child could ruin your day is very real.
I concur.
And do you know what? I learned something as well, and I only learned this recently, and I should have learned this a lot sooner, considering I conduct weddings. You know, at the moment where they say, if anyone here has any reason why these two should not be joined, all that spiel, if anyone says anything, even as a joke, you stop the wedding right there and then. You call the police into a back room and you have to wait until an investigation has been done.
Really?
Yeah.
So even if a kid goes, Mummy!
I'm not sure if a kid goes, Mummy, but if like an older kid would go, I do, as a joke, you have to stop the wedding.
Really?
Yeah. So I was doing a wedding last year where some of the guests had Tourette's. Oh. And we had to seriously manage the expectations of actually sometimes you might have to leave if that happens because the reality is we will have to go in because that could be the only opportunity where somebody might have been coerced into a marriage.
Yeah.
And so the rules around it are you have to right there and then the police have to come, or at least the signatory person has to investigate because that could be the only opportunity to rule out like a dodgy wedding.
So how did the Tourette's go down?
It was fine.
Yeah,
I was so nervous.
It's a tense moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, even when you know there's nothing wrong.
It was still that wedding I learned.
Really? Oh, wow.
On the day. Literally on the morning. Because the whole preparation, I was like, I'll be fine. I should have known. on the morning, that's when I found that out.
Is it called tics that people with Tourette's have?
Yeah, I think so.
So it's when they go, by the way, their tic is that they like to announce that they know a reason why people can't get married.
Yeah. And so in the conversations with them, they would come up with hilarious like responses just as part of their tic. Yeah. And so it was like, actually, if you're feeling like it's going to happen, you might just have to step outside. And I think that's what happened.
And it was all good.
All good. But my opinion is, it's up to the couple.
I'm not offended. So we had a wedding recently. Some friends from church got married, and they said, "Look, bring the kids if you want." We were like, "No."
Yeah, that's also great. Do you want to enjoy it more?
I want to enjoy it more. And if like the family wedding at the weekend, mum and dad were invited. It was over 3 nights that we were there. So, bring them with you. And it was fine. And then they slept really well last night because they were shattered. So if your childcare is at the wedding with you, it can cause some troubles.
Yeah,
I think. But no, I'm of the opinion if the bride and groom say no kids.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, it's not about you and your little family, is it? Like,
No.
It's about the couple.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And I like a dance.
I would quite prefer an evening where I don't have to worry.
Mate,
I can stay up later.
If Bruno Mars comes on, I have no concern for what my kids are doing. I'm just completely...
Luke's going to log that one.
I'm led by Bruno. Yeah, if he ever hears this, Alexa, play Bruno Mars. And then Daddy's gone. You've got a 5-minute window to do what you want.
Amazing. Please, if you want to send us your messages, your comments, your stories, please do. At Parenting Tools Pod on TikTok and Instagram.
And we will see you next week.
Next week.